This is Common Sense. I'm William Ferguson. And finally, Attorney General Jeff Sessions has decided that there will be an investigation into the use of the dirty dossier in the FISA court. And it's about time, really. That dossier was found to be illegitimate. Okay, it was paid for by Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee. It was formed by an ex-English MI6 agent, and it used Russian lies to formulate an instrument, a paper, to get information on the Trump campaign. Now, the idea that Attorney General Sessions is wanting to get an investigation going is a good thing. But there are still, the mainstream media are saying that in the indictments of the 13 Russians, which has also taken place via Mueller, they're saying that it shows that there was corruption in the Trump campaign. No, it doesn't. Because the indictments, as Rosenstein said specifically, there is no proof of any Americans involved in what the Russians were doing as far as the election went. But the mainstream media is still, oh no, they were doing it. They did it. It was all a collusion. The Trump team, the whole thing, it was all the Trumps doing it with the Russians. Well, no, it wasn't, okay? And now there is proof. There is absolute 100% proof that there was corruption with the Russians. And it went all the way back to 2014. While guess who was still in the office of the president? Hey! But yet he, Obama, decided to just ignore it. Oh no, there's nothing going on over there. Just move along. Move along. There's nothing to see here. Well, actually, yes, there was. And the Russians meddling in the United States, Obama could care less about. I don't care. He let them go ahead. And the selling of the uranium, 20% of our uranium to Uranium One via Hillary Clinton, is suspect to me. It is. It really is. Because why on earth would the Secretary of State of the United States of America sell 20% of the interest in our uranium, which we need for medical applications, to another country, any country, when we are having to buy it ourselves? What sense did that make? And what sense does it make that if Clinton is chumming up with the Russians, why would the Russians be against Clinton? Why? The mainstream media, they don't want to answer that question. They don't want to answer why was Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton buddy-buddy with the Russians. After all, Bill Clinton gave a speech and made $500,000 off of that speech. That's a little much, I think. If I could make $500,000 off a speech, I probably would question what is the ulterior motive that you're trying to get to. Now that we know through the Uranium One deal and Bill Clinton's speeches and some of the other things that were going on at the time, that the Clintons were pretty much in bed with the Russians. They were buddy buddy. Now, somewhere in that mix, they were figuring, ooh, Hillary's going to be the president. So, you know, why would the Russians want Trump president when they've got Hillary and Bill buddying up to him? And if you can get Hillary in the White House, then Russians could really get some control over the United States, because I'm sure, as it is, the Obama White House, I know Obama himself, he was getting buddy buddy with Karazhan, I think his name is, and he wasn't exactly a nice guy. The Clintons were buddy buddy with the Russians, and it's just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever that the Russians would want Donald Trump as the president. It just doesn't. Now, with all the evidence that they have, and Rod Rosenstein, the assistant attorney general, I believe, saying that there's absolutely no proof that there was any collusion or corruption between any American and the Russians. That why is the media still trying to insist that it's going on? They're not trying to insist that it was going on. They're trying to insist that it still is going on. And I don't believe it. There's a war going on in Syria. And the military has had to kill Russians in Syria. It's the way war goes. I'm sorry, it's the way it is. And they're still trying to say that Trump is colluding with the Russians. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And I don't understand. What is wrong with the truth? Seriously, what is wrong with the truth? If I were to say, it seems like that the people of the United States have become so accustomed to death in movies, TV shows, in song, in everything, that constant feeding of the feeble mind is causing people to want to go out and kill. Because in movies and TV shows, there's an adrenaline jolt. When somebody gets killed, something gets blown up, something burns down, it's adrenaline. It causes the adrenaline to spike. And so if the adrenaline is doing that by watching something happen in a movie or on a TV show, what would the adrenaline spike be like if you killed somebody? Whoa. So, the human mind being so vulnerable, do you think that possibly 1 and 1 would make 2? And that these psychologically inferior, unstable people would want to try and get that ultimate rush, the 15 minutes of fame, the whatever, the legacy, that they were murderers and their name will live on in forever. Do you think that's part of it? Now, if you want to start screaming it was the gun, you're an idiot. You're an absolute stupid idiot. Because I have never, ever in my entire life, not in the military, not as a civilian, have ever I seen a firearm do anything, really. It can't fire itself, it can't cock itself, it can't load itself. It does nothing unless there is a human being behind it. Okay? So that's the way it is. And the mainstream media doesn't even want to accept that. They want to be the ones that are the great savior and say, "Ooh, look what I said on TV. Now I am the savior because I know that taking away the guns is going to take away the violence." No, it's not. It's impossible to take away the violence. Well, it's not impossible because God's going to do it when Jesus comes back. Those of us who are Christians and believe in Jesus and live the way that we were instructed to in the Bible, we get to go where there is no violence, where there is absolute peace and joy and love. No more violence. So, it's not the gun. It's the idea in the mind that causes these things to happen. And it's the ideas that the mainstream media, the lies that they are telling the public of the United States, that is driving a wedge between the conservative and the liberal, between the believer and the non-believer. They are, and why they're doing that, I have no idea. Well, actually I do. It's because they're listening to Satan, and Satan's driving them to do that. But why can't they open their eyes? Open your eyes. See what is really going on. What is really going on? Well, what's really going on is Trump is doing a great job because the country is on the up and up. Things are getting better. And if you noticed, have you noticed this? We haven't heard a whole lot from North Korea lately. Of course, the Olympics are going on right now, and they're probably being nice to everybody because of that. But once the Olympics are over, will we be hearing a lot about North Korea? Probably not. Now, it would be nice to hear of Kim Jong-un stepping aside and letting South Korea and North Korea come together and assimilate with the South Koreans and become a peace-loving country, a republic, so that they can live more freely, the people of the country. So, I try to do this channel in order to bring some common sense into the absolute absurdity and the stupidity and the foolishness and the ignorance and the arrogance of what the fake news media is trying to pump out, which is wrong. It's wrong. A lot of it is lies. And unless your mind can handle it, I would say don't listen to it. So with that, I ask that you pray for the leadership of this country. Pray for those who have lost loved ones. And pray for those who are still blind, that their eyes will be open. I thank you for watching. I'm William Ferguson for Common Sense.